It started with a tiny ping that looked harmless. My sister scheduled a transfer with a note. Aunt's allowance. By the time I looked closer, there was a stroller, a crib, and a nursing chair bought on installments using my information and my email. That morning I realized I'd have to choose between protecting my future or funding my family's chaos, and my answer wouldn't be a scream. It would be a boundary. If this already grabbed you, tap subscribe, drop a like, and share this story with someone who confuses support with free money. It helps me keep telling first-person stories like this one. I graduated on Friday, December 23rd, 2022, and walked straight from the ceremony to my night shift. By day, I had a regular job. By night, extra hours that plugged the leaks. I lived Sunday to Sunday with rare days off, paying rent and utilities on time, ironing on Sundays, lining up meal prep containers like tiny wins. Every victory had a price: short nights, long eye bags, and a clock that always seemed a step ahead. My sister, Bruna, lived on another planet. While I combed through spreadsheets, she posted stories from parties and last nights out before motherhood, glitter on her cheekbones and promises on her tongue. She said she was finding the best in life and that working too hard makes you bitter. I told her bills don't accept philosophy as payment. One rainy Monday she said, without accessories, that she was pregnant and tacked on, as if it were punctuation. You'll help me, right? I chose human before strict. I opened a budget doc and looked for the kindest version of no ID help with diapers for a few months, split prenatal appointments up to a clear cap, build the basic baby kit through donations and consignment. I told her I could be there, but I could not fund her life. She smiled with a twist and said she didn't want crumbs, she wanted security. That I made more. I said she made nothing, and that her road couldn't be paved with my wallet. That same night, a transfer popped up, scheduled for January 20th, labeled Aunt's stipend. The family group chat, that courtroom with chairs for everyone and minutes for no one, fired up. Oldest siblings have it together. A baby belongs to everyone. If it were me, I'd want help. I read help like a menu at the bottom of the page. The bill was mine. I have a small ritual on Fridays after work. I stop by a bakery that smells like cinnamon, grab 2 warm cheddar biscuits and a slice of pound cake. That Friday, my card failed twice. When it finally ran on credit, the banking app flagged unusual activity. At home, I opened the statement: multiple installments from a baby's store, ID never visited, stroller, crib, nursery set, rocker. All under my name, with a fresh account created using my backup email. I called Bruna, asked if she'd used my info. She said she knew I'd be dramatic. I said drama is theater. This was fraud. In spam sat password reset attempts. Not an accident. A plan. Mom called a family dinner to talk like adults. I arrived with a folder, screenshots, claim numbers, the budget, and a police report started and ready to file. Calmly, I explained ID help with basics in kind. With limits, I would not pay for purchases made. Without consent, ID push for cancellations and, if needed, go legal. And we needed the father's name. Bruna said he wouldn't be involved. I asked if he had a name. She said yes, but it wasn't relevant. I said it was especially for the baby. Mom sighed that the oldest is a little bit of a mom. I said a mom is who assumes things. I can be a net, not a roof. Patience turns to complicity fast when you sign what isn't yours. I kept my word. I took her to the community clinic, bought vitamins, picked up hand-me-down onesies from a coworker, and wrote everything down so I wouldn't lose myself. Mid-appointment, the bank pinged a new purchase attempt at the same store. I told her to cancel. She said it was already approved. I repeated no. She pressed family, like a universal key. ID already blocked it. It wasn't about the stroller, it was about my signature. At 12:20 a.m., a childhood number texted something bitter. I sent a steady voice note, ID help in kind with a cap. Anything done with my information would be cancelled. If it continued, I'd go to the police. Out of love for her and the baby, don't make me choose between our relationship and my integrity. Silence followed the kind that announces weather. Between real nausea and loud stories, Bruna kept partying. She started tagging me as the responsible aunt, pushing me into a role I hadn't auditioned for. I reminded her living is choosing. She said she'd chosen to have her baby. I said I'd chosen not to be her paycheck. I stuck to my plan: diapers, vitamins, appointments. No cash. All receipts. Then a certified letter slid under my door. The store wanted payment. I called, cited identity misuse, attached my report, and opened a formal dispute. I texted Bruna that I was canceling everything. She said I was useless. I said I'm good for settling, and what's useless is using someone else's identity. Meanwhile, one of her friends let slip the father was a DJ at a neighborhood bar. A simple name. I bit my tongue. Nightlife doesn't sign birth certificates, people do. January 20th arrived. The scheduled transfer bounced. 5 minutes later, Bruno called to call me cruel. I said I was consistent, that I had paperwork and case numbers, that I didn't want where he wanted a boundary. The words started to feel like home. On Sunday, she showed up at my door. I need you, she said. I'm here, I said. I need money. I have items. She asked if I thought she'd be a bad mom. I said being a mom starts today, with choices that don't hand the bill to another woman. Right then the store emailed a security still small bump, ID in hand, my email typed on the former face. I just wanted to make sure, she said. Make sure of what? That you wouldn't abandon me. I don't abandon. I draw edges. At the clinic, the nurse talked about support that holds without becoming a crutch. When she asked for the father's name, Bruna said Raphael. The name dropped like a sinker in my chest. Raphael was my almost boyfriend in college, the one that didn't survive distance and shifts. I asked for his last name. Later, she said. I chose not to imagine. I chose to ask. Raphael called that afternoon and asked to meet at the old campus coffee shop. He showed up with his shoulders forward like a man walking into consequences. I messed up, he said. Had met Bruna without knowing she was my sister, learned too late, tried to leave, came back, panicked. I asked if he was the father. I don't know. Asked if he'd step up if he was. Yes, dust, and whatever comes with it. He slid an envelope across the table. I pushed it back. I'm not a bridge, I said. I'm her sister. If you're the father, talk to her. If you're not, talk to your conscience. The next morning, I went with Bruna to her ultrasound. Raphael was in the hallway. The doctor measured, smiled, gave us a due window. When she asked if she should list a father, Bruna said Raphael, and he said he'd own what was his. In the hallway, my sister floated the idea of a monthly plan between the two of us. We both said no at the same time. Downstairs, Raphael pulled out a simple commitment: he'd buy a set amount of baby supplies each month and show up for appointments. I repeated my in kind, capped, receipt-only help. Bruna said that didn't pay rent. I said it paid diapers and care, and rent was a different conversation, like work. I locked down my accounts, changed passwords, killed all scheduled transfers, and posted in the family chat help in kind, with limits. Half called it cold. Half called it solid. I slept fine with the half that mattered. The store finally canceled every purchase made with my data and blocked future attempts. I sent the PDF. Bruna said I loved humiliating her. I said I loved a zero balance and a stocked pantry. She threw a last-minute gender reveal with colored smoke and didn't invite me or Raphael. I didn't fight online. I reinforced the edges. From now on. Every bit of help would have a list and a receipt. No stage lights. We met in a park to align logistics. In the middle of it, she asked for an authorized card. I said no. Raphael said absolutely not. She walked off with the wind for an audience. I stayed sitting with my decision. Per the social worker's advice, we signed a tiny family agreement. ID help in kind with a monthly cap and receipts. Raphael would do the same and attend care. Bruna would not use anyone's identity, would not ask for cash, and would communicate outside discipline needs ahead of time. Breaking it meant a pause in support, except for health emergencies. We all signed. Paper with my voice. A week flowed the way I like, predictably. Then I saw Bruna listing baby gifts online for quick cash. I told her she'd broken the agreement and paused my part for a week. Mom invited me to lunch and called me harsh. I reminded her it wasn't just a stroller. It was judgment. Some conversations end in your mouth, not in someone else's ear. That night Raphael called to say basics were covered and, before hanging up, said that if he turned out to be the father, he'd want me to be godmother. I said I'd be an aunt and godparents are the mother's call. He thanked me anyway, like a man who understands trust needs a fence. At 3 a.m., a scare, low blood pressure, and lousy meals. The doctor repeated the essential seat, sleep, routine, no just a sip. I promised myself I'd help without policing and that if she put the baby at risk I'd move from no to action. I brought fruit, simple snacks, and a sticky note: eat, sleep, repeat. Raphael texted thanks for showing him how to help without becoming a crutch. When I thought calm was finally landing, a friend sent me a screenshot. Bruna, in a private chat, had typed, "Relax, my sister will cover whatever's missing. She's a goody-goody." I printed it and took it to her. She said it was a joke. I said jokes don't schedule transfers, don't put strollers under someone else's name, and don't resell gifts. From that moment on, everything went through me or Raphael first. Break it, and I'd step back for a month. Health exceptions only. She cried inward lie the loudest kind and said okay. At 8 o'clock sharp another day, the doorbell rang. Raphael stood there with his mom and a manila envelope. "I'm not the father," he said. The test agreed, probability near zero. "I'm still staying," he added. In kind. I thanked him. Babies aren't responsible for adult messes. That same week, before dawn, Bruna went into labor. At 6:10 a.m., a small round cry filled the room. A girl. Victoria. At intake, the father line stayed blank for now. Bruna asked to give her a middle name, Helena, like mine. She said she envied me but admired me more, that she wanted her daughter to carry some of that. I nodded without speeches. I stayed until evening, changed a diaper, fixed a onesie, helped her cradle the tiny, heavy head. I'm not a mother, but I know how to care without turning into a crutch. When I got home, a delivery waited: 2 warm biscuits and a handwritten note from the bakery owner. "Congrats, Aunt Helena. When she wants and can, we'll train her at the register short shifts. Around here we don't drop each other, but we don't carry each other either." The first real doorway for my sister. The first night back home nearly broke her. "I can't do this," she said at 3 a.m. "You can today," I said. "Well, revisit tomorrow. One day at a time is a lot." She came home from her first training shift smelling like bread, flour in her hair, exhausted and proud. "I did it," she whispered. At 8:15 that night, my phone buzzed. A small transfer, $100, written out in the memo. The note read, "First payment that stroller I tried to stick under your name. Now it's on my sweat. Thanks, sis. Bruna." I wasn't expecting to be paid. I was expecting to be respected. Both arrived together, in the most surprising form: simple. A few weeks later, the bakery offered her 2 mornings a week, 4 hours each, paid, with room to grow. Sometimes she woke up scared and asked if I thought she'd be a bad mom. I told her she'll be the mom she chooses to be from today on. Biological paternity went on pause. A new number texted her about a test, and I stepped off center stage, quiet and certain that not everything belongs to me. The first 40 days became a class. She kept her appointments, ate better, sold nothing, asked for nothing outside the plan. Raphael kept his word. Mom hemmed cloth diapers with colorful edges and held her granddaughter on a Sunday afternoon with a smile that handed me my childhood back. One Sunday at dusk, I pushed the stroller around our neighborhood park. Victoria slept with her lips parted. Bruno walked beside me. "I thought you were going to save my life," she said. "I gave you the key," I told her. "You open the door." She laughed, tucked the blanket, and for a second the whole world fit inside a quiet scene without fireworks, a pivot of character, not spectacle. I learned a boundary isn't a wall. It's a door with a lock. You decide who comes in, and if they do, they come to add, not to take ownership. I'm not a bank. I'm not a villain. I'm a sister with receipts and a spine. And even when the spine aches, it straightens faster when love stops being an ATM and becomes, finally, a way to say yes to what truly belongs to you. If you made it this far, tell me, what would you have done in my place? Comment below, subscribe, and share this story with someone who needs to hear that no can be the kindest way to care.